We're in Venice, Italy, and today we're going to walk you through the top things you need to see when visiting this amazing city.
Ah, Venice. With its iconic architecture, endless bridges, and one-of-a-kind atmosphere, there's so much to see in this floating city. And while it's sometimes recommended to just get lost in Venice, it's also nice to come with a plan.
Our first stop takes us to one of the prettiest viewpoints in Venice, and that's the Ponte dell'Accademia, also known as the Accademia Bridge. While this wooden bridge isn't the oldest or most impressive structure on the Grand Canal, its location can't be beat, and the views from the top are absolutely terrific. If you're looking to score one of the prettiest viewpoints in all of Venice, this is the spot. Not to mention, being slightly further away from the other main tourist attractions, this bridge is much less crowded than other Venetian viewpoints.
We're currently on the Accademia Bridge in Venice, and this is probably one of the most gorgeous views of the city. Here we're overlooking the Basilica di Santa Maria, and this is a pretty lively spot with all the boats coming in. It's also kind of funny, this exact view behind me was my desktop photo for a while for my work computer, so it's awesome to see it in real life. I didn't even know where this photo was taken. I just knew it was gorgeous and it was in Venice. But man, that view speaks for itself. This is probably my favorite site we've seen so far here.
The next thing you need to see when you visit Venice is Piazza San Marco, or informally, St. Mark's Square. Being centrally located in the heart of Venice, St. Mark's Square is a key landmark to get your bearings in this chaotic city. With history dating back to the 9th century, this is one of Italy's most culturally significant plazas. Despite the fact that it's prone to flooding and Venice is high tide, this beautiful square was considered by Napoleon to be the drawing room of Europe, a huge compliment for its elegance. In addition to its grand architecture, the square is surrounded by bustling cafes, one of which, Cafe Florian, is the oldest coffee house in Italy and the second oldest in the entire world. Its intricate interior and elegant exterior have been enjoyed for centuries and have attracted historical heroes such as Lord Byron and Charles Dickens. It was the only coffee house that served women when it opened, and today you can still enjoy live classic music played by the band outside, which creates a cozy atmosphere to slowly sip an expensive drink.
Just past Cafe Florian is the square's famous clock tower, the Campanile San Marco. While the original clock tower was built in the 9th century and used both as a clock tower and a lighthouse, it violently collapsed in 1902, and miraculously, nobody was injured in the fall. Today, you can take an elevator to the top for €8 to score one of the best views of the Venetian skyline. And while near the Campanile, be sure to check out St. Mark's clock tower. Adorned with two giant Moors that actually swing their hammers to ring the bell every hour, this clock tower also has one of the world's first digital clock displays, with time displaying in both Roman and Arabic numerals. This was used for sailors to be able to see the time even from their faraway ships. So we're in St. Mark's Square right now. This is the heart of Venice, and it is hustling and bustling. You'll probably find the biggest crowds here, so keep a close eye on your belongings and watch out for pickpockets, but it is absolutely breathtaking. And while it's massive, there's actually not a lot of seating here. You're actually not allowed to sit on any of the steps here, so don't plan on eating a nice picnic lunch here because there's really nowhere to sit.
And while on Piazza San Marco, you'll need to pop into St. Mark's Cathedral, one of the most unique and mysterious churches in Europe. Believe it or not, the grand domes you see from the outside are actually fake and are made of just thin wood and lead. This was to make the church seem grander and, more importantly, lighter, as heavier materials would cause the church to sink. When it comes time to enter, you need to wear the appropriate clothes, so be sure to bring a shawl to cover your shoulders. As you enter, you'll notice rather than being decorated in painted frescoes like most Italian basilicas, this church is adorned in intricate gold mosaics. In fact, St. Mark's has so many mosaics that if you stretch them out, you could cover nearly 2 American football fields, which is even more impressive because those tiles are actually made of real gold. And while many of these mosaics depict classic Catholic images, some of these mosaics actually tell the story of this particular church's most famous tale. In the year 828, 2 Venetian merchants actually stole the body of St. Mark himself from Egypt and smuggled it back to Venice. This church was used to house St. Mark's body, and just like that, St. Mark became the patron saint of Venice.
And while near St. Mark's Cathedral, you'll need to visit the next item on our list, the Bridge of Sighs.
So right behind me we have the Bridge of Sighs. This is absolutely a gorgeous bridge, but it has kind of a morbid history. So this bridge connects Doge's palace to the prisons that are attached to it. And the myth of this bridge is that prisoners going from Doge's palace to their prison would get their last glimpse of Venice crossing this bridge. And before we came here, we were actually wondering what they would be looking at, and we can't believe how gorgeous it is on the other side of this bridge. So definitely a grim history, but it's kind of cool to actually see what the prisoners were looking at now. It's also said that a couple that passes under the Bridge of Sighs in a gondola and shares a kiss under the bridge will share eternal love forever. So if you're into superstitions, definitely cross that off your list while you're here.
And for the fellow Pittsburgh fans out there, this Bridge of Sighs actually inspired the Bridge of Sighs in Pittsburgh. Kind of cool seeing that on the road.
And while we're discussing Venice's famous bridges, you'll need to wander 15 minutes over to see the most famous structure spanning the Grand Canal, the Rialto Bridge. To reach the Rialto Bridge, just follow signs for Per Rialto. And when you arrive, you'll be greeted by one of Venice's most notable global icons. Being the oldest bridge in Venice, and with its history dating back to the 12th century, this is more than just a bridge. It's part of Venetian culture. On the bridge, you'll find shops selling authentic Venetian souvenirs of blown glass, art, and linens. And from the bridge's edge, you'll get one of the best views of Venice in the Grand Canal. If you want to get pictures of the bridge without the crowds, you'll need to get here early. We actually did our engagement photo shoot in Venice and arrived near the bridge around 7 a.m. and we were lucky enough to get some great pictures without the crowds. Near the Rialto Bridge, you'll also find the Rialto Market, which is a great spot to grab lunch. We stopped here in our Venice food tour, so be sure to check that out to see some of the most iconic and delicious foods to try on your trip to Venice.
If you're looking to pick up a souvenir or score some interesting pictures in Venice, you'll need to wander down to the Libraire Acqua Alta. This iconic bookstore is a classic Venetian gem with antique books and prints for sale in every inch of this building. Many of the items are kept in old boats or wooden tubs, as the shopkeeper needed a way to keep his massive collection off the ground to protect from flooding. In addition to the books and the store's famous book staircase, there is one more secret that this store is known for.
So one of the awesome things about this bookshop is it's actually on the canal, and they have a gondola anchored outside, so if you want to get a picture inside a gondola without paying for a gondola ride, this is a free way to do that. And if you're wondering why I'm looking like a fool like this, you have to wear your backpacks on the front in this store. So we're leaving that bookshop right now, and that was way more charming than we expected. Even if you're not into books, they had prints and lots of other things too, so definitely a cool shop in Venice.
And if you're looking to get on the water longer than that photo op in the bookstore, you'll love these next two items on our list. The first way should come as no surprise, and that's taking a gondola tour of the city. Exploring Venice's charming canals from an intricately decorated gondola can be an unforgettable experience in Venice. But there are a few things you should know. First, you'll find gondoliers offering rides all over the city. Just look for rowers in their iconic striped outfits or one of the many signs offering their services. Before you jump in the first gondola you see, consider what you'd like to see on your ride. If you want to see more of the Grand Canal, consider hiring a gondolier near there. If you prefer quieter side canals, find a gondolier in an area away from the main attractions. Regardless where you book from, you'll pay the same price everywhere in the city, and typically be on the water for 30 to 40 minutes. If you instead want to ride a gondola for cheap, consider finding one of the 7 Traghettos crossings in the city. Here, for just €2, a gondolier will quickly ferry you across the Grand Canal.
And if you'd like to save a buck, experience Venice from the water, and learn some interesting history, this next item is for you. And that's to take Venice's Vaporetto Line 1. Vaporetto literally translates to water bus, and these water buses are an amazing way to affordably see Venice from the water. We recommend traveling to the Piazza Roma station, which is the first station on Venice's Vaporetto Line 1. Here, you can purchase a ticket for a boat heading towards Piazza San Marco and see the prettiest stretch of the Grand Canal from the water. We recommend bringing your own earbuds and downloading the free Rick Steves Audio Tour app, as he's a free audio tour perfectly timed to this water bus journey that points out all the key attractions along this water bus route. We cover this at a greater length in our How to Plan a Trip to Venice travel guide video, so make sure you're subscribed and check out that video as well to maximize your time in Venice. Anyways, once on the water, you get some of the best views of Venice's buildings and have an enjoyable time cruising through the Grand Canal.
If you're looking to see an odd alley in Venice, you'll need to wander to Calle Varisco. Being under 2 feet across, the street is so narrow it doesn't even show up on some maps in Venice.
So we're walking into the most narrow street in all of Venice, and it is narrow. If I had my elbows out, or even if I walked with broad shoulders, it is very tight sneaking through here. This is crazy narrow. You almost have to hold your breath in here. If you're claustrophobic, it is definitely a little tight in here, but it is such a cool spot, and it ends at a really cool outlook at one of the canals. And it seems pretty residential the further you get in, which makes me think this is an actual street that people go to get to their houses. So pretty crazy to think about.
And to get to this narrow street, we just plugged in Calle Varisco into our phones on Google Maps, and it took us right there. It's pretty obvious which one it is.
And if you're an art buff, be sure to wander down to this next part of town to see one of Venice's most famous modern art pieces.
There's several art museums in Venice where you can appreciate some amazing works of art. If you don't feel like dishing out the money to see that, there's actually an original Banksy in Venice, and that's right behind me. If you want to see it, you can come right to this bridge. We'll link it in the description box below in case you want to see a work by one of the most famous street artists in the world. If you're looking to beat the heat in Venice, be sure to wander over to the Royal Gardens. Located near Piazza San Marco, the Royal Gardens were actually commissioned by Napoleon himself to give the Royal Palace an outdoor green area. While just a small park, this is an enjoyable way to relax away from the crowds and beat the heat in Venice.
So we're in the Royal Gardens right now. I think there's 3 things we really love about this place. The first is it's free. The second is it's shaded. And the third is there's benches everywhere here. It seems like in Venice there's lots of rules against sitting places. So in St. Mark's, on the bridges, you're not supposed to sit and loiter. But this park, it seems like the perfect spot to relax, get out of the sun, and enjoy Venice.
So that's our list of the top things you need to do when you visit Venice, Italy. If you found this video useful, please consider giving this video a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a travel video in the future. Next up, we're headed to Trieste and then off to Slovenia to get married, so you don't want to miss it. Thanks Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
And before you click away from this video, consider supporting our Amazon store where we sell these days of the week packing cubes that Courtney designed. They help keep us on the road and they help keep Zeppy very happy. See ya.